So let's talk about non-standard bolts. So let me start by creating a little bolt over here. We go to the steel menu, go to my bolt command. I select this I-beam, and let's say I don't have anything else to select. I just right click and I select my origin of the bolt coordinate system and the x-axis. And a few bolts are created. They're basically going through the top flange of this I-beam. Now, in COMOSYS, the length of the bolts are calculated automatically. So if I were to double click on this bolt and go to the selected bolt data, I will see that the length of the bolt is 45 millimeters. Now, different lengths are tried automatically by the program, and the most appropriate length is selected. And what the program does is it checks the available bolts in the database, which are, by the way, located over here. You can go to the bolt database and you can find out exactly what lengths are available. So what you need to do is if you double click on the bolt, you see the assembly of this bolt is given over here. If you go inside the assembly, you will find that the standard of the bolt is 6914. Obviously, there are many different standards. You can add others as well. Many are provided within COMOSYS, so 2063, 2064, 325, 61, all those are available. But this particular bolt is 6914. Now, if we go and let's check the diameter is 20. So if you were to go to the bolt database and go to and scroll down, if you were to scroll down and go to 6914, for example, we see that here now we're getting to 6914 over here. And let's go to the M20 bolts. Let's scroll a bit further up. Now you see over here that the M20 bolts have a maximum. So this is the last M20 bolt, or let me see. Yes, this is also M20. This one is the last M20 bolt, and the length is 155 millimeters. So obviously, when you go to the market where you can buy the bolts, certain bolts are available in certain lengths. So every length is not available by default. And if you have a longer length, for example, then those bolts will need to be ordered, especially they're not part of the standard 6914 standard. So if I wanted, for example, for this bolt to go right through to the bottom flange as well, right? If I wanted that, if I wanted this bolt to continue, and this is an IP 300 beam, so the height is about 300, that bolt does not exist in the standard catalog. And if I open up the bolt dialog box, we have something called the cut depth over here. This cut depth variable, if I turn it on, it represents, so because I created my bolts at this plane, let me show you the bolt coordinate system as well. Let me go to settings over here and draw the bolt coordinate system. So you can see that this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and this is the z-axis. What the cut depth variable tells us, which I just showed you, is how deep, how in the plus z direction and in the minus z direction should COMOSYS look for material, basically, to go through. Now, in this case, the default is plus 50, minus 50. So it's basically looking for material 50 millimeters above those points and 50 millimeters below those points. And what it's finding is basically the top flange over there. If I were to, because it's the minus z direction, if I were to increase this to minus 500, for example, this would tell COMOSYS to keep searching 500 millimeters below to find other material, and it will find this bottom flange as well in that case, because the depth in the minus z direction is 500. So if I were to do that, you see that the bolts start giving an error because it has found material at minus 300, but now the problem is that it doesn't have any bolt that long in the database which we just looked at. So what this kind of a drawing, what it's telling me is that it couldn't really find any bolt in the database. So for such situations, normally what we do is we order non-standard bolts from the market. And we don't really want to add these bolts to the 6914 standard because we don't want to, basically ruin that standard for future projects. that standard needs to stay as it is. But yet I want to create this bolt as a non-standard bolt. So what we do over here is we double click over there, we go to the settings menu, and we say allow for non-catalog bolt lengths. And when we do that and press apply, automatically the program accepts that length, whatever that length may be. It's basically going through the top flange, going right through everything else, and all the way to the bottom flange. Basically anything which the cut depth is telling me to include. And by using this technique, we can force COMOSYS to actually create the bolt of that length, and now this bolt will appear as that of whatever length it now is in the reports, and we will be able to see, and we will be able to order these bolts according to that. And obviously they will not be available from the standard market, but since we can order them with special sizes, that will be possible. So this is a technique which you can use whenever you're dealing with non-standard bolts. You basically go to your settings to tab, and you check this non-catalog bolt length, and you modify these cut depth parameters according to your needs.